Mahalo, Vula, Konnichiwa, Namaste, Kia ora, hello and welcome to the Property Ventures webinar on new build product. Tonight I'm with Mark Honeybone. Many of you know Mark, so I won't give you an introduction. He'll go through a little bit of his background. And then we've also got Kris Pedersen, one of the, he's the owner of Pedersen Mortgages, one of the top property finances in the country, and he'll be talking around ways to finance and what currently the banks are doing and accepting. So Mark, over to you. We'll kind of keep this fairly quick tonight, but if you've got any questions throughout the evening, please utilize the your computer and your webcam and the question box and send them through.
Very good. Thanks, thanks, Kieran. Jolly good. Right, yeah, so welcome along tonight. We haven't done a webinar for a while. We're probably going to try to start doing these every month, but all good. So tonight's just a bit about why we think new builds right now, and also, we have got this is a sales night. We have got a product at the end we'd like to tell you about and see if you're interested in. Just to get into it, I'm not going to go through all this. More important, there's a lot of info on there at the moment, but what right have I got to be talking to you tonight? I'm passionate about property, live and breathe it, have for a long time. 10 years ago, I had a very bad experience with an off-the-plan new build, so I know the hurt you can have, and I want to make sure other people don't have that hurt. And saying that, now you either fight or you run or you hide, sort of thing. Over the last couple of years, I've brought 3 new off-the-plan builds, all doing very, very well, because I'm not doing what I did 10 years ago. And my plan is to buy 1 a year for the next 7 years, and I'm probably going to buy, it won't take me 7 years to buy those next 7, so all good. So that's a bit about who I am and why I'm talking and whatever's on the screen. Have traded a lot of properties in the past. It's one thing that's not on the screen, I guess, there. So why, let's get into it straight away. So why do I think now's a good time in new builds? Well, that first part there, historically the property market doubles every 8 to 12 years. I don't worry too much about that. That happens, that's really good, but it's not the be all and end all for me from why I'm doing new builds. It's just been proven the last 5 decades that does happen though, and every 5 decades it has doubled. In fact, the last decade's probably doubled a bit quicker than the 12 years.
Well on the way, yep.
On the way. One thing, of course, now is a 20% loan to value ratio. If you're buying a $500,000 off the plan new build, you only need $100,000. If you're buying a second-hand product right now, you need $200,000. You need 40%. So that enables you to get into a new build much easier, or it might in fact enable you to buy two new builds rather than a second-hand product. Either or, the choice is yours. Low interest rates right now are fantastic. Don't get too hung up about that 1.7. Kris will talk briefly about that soon. But for 2.5% or less than 2.5% now, you can get on a 2 or 3 year fixed loan, which is just things ridiculous for us have been around a wee while. But that's what it is, and that enables you to get a new build much easier. It also enables you, while they are so low, if you have extra cash, is to hammer that debt down early on. So the more debt you have early on, the less risk you're going to have later on, the sooner you can buy another rental property. So that's very important. Obviously, right now the government have made a lot of rule changes on the whole last term. So the last 4 years have made a lot. Forget about the interest tax deductible for a minute. It's the healthy homes. You have to have insulation everywhere. The heat pumps. Yep. It's cost investors thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of money to do this, and it's getting hard to get your older home up to compliance with what they expect. And then just recently they chuck another one at us, where if you own a rental property, your interest you get, if it might cost you $20,000 interest to hold a property for a year, you're not going to be able to claim that back as an expense, which is the only business in New Zealand where you can't claim an expense as an expense, because it is an expense, and for every other company business you're in, you can claim your interest as an expense. So you're missing out on a $20,000 or say $18,000 interest bill for a year. You're missing out on $6,000 you can claim back, which is extra cash flow after tax, which is a bit of a bugger. And at the moment, though, for new builds, that is carrying on. They're still making the rules up as they go, but at the moment, you still can, which is great. Maintenance, obviously, for new builds, there should be none. They usually come with warranties for at least 3 months and guarantees for the next 10 years. You shouldn't need a lot for maintenance, which again, they're making it easy to buy new builds right now. And of course, you only need 10% deposit, which is the same for most, I guess. But that's yeah, which is all good for 10% now. If you don't settle for another year, you don't have to pay any more till it's all ready. So 10% deposit sort of the biggest risk you have of not being able to spend that money anywhere else, I guess. So
and it's always in a solicitor's trust account. So I mean,
yeah, it's all safe money. So that's all good. Okay. So carrying on there, the time is perfect. I'll just tell a couple of reasons about capital growth. And before I talk about capital growth, in fact, when I buy a new build, I actually don't care really what the market's doing, the property market in New Zealand's doing. What I talk about is there's a market within a market. And what I mean by that is each individual project has its own market. And I'm talking about properties that have a 10 to 100 or 200 sort of properties being built. And what I mean by that is most of our developers we use, in fact, I think all of our developers we use, they need so many sales to get pre-approval of finance. So what that might mean, it might be 40 apartments or 40 townhouses. They need 10 or 15 places to be sold before their finance is approved. So they want them sold as quick as they can, which means they start at rock bottom price down here. And when the pre-sales when they've got enough of finance, they put it up. And they put up quite a bit because their risk factor's over. And then as their stage 2 and 3, it goes up again and it goes up again and up again. An example we've just done end of last year and start of this year in Howick, Abercrombie. I think the first sale started off, they were 3-bedroom townhouses, about 720 or 730, I think. The first pre-sales were. They went up to 750, 60, 780, 785. The last one we sold, still before any concrete's been laid, I think it was about 805 or 804, somewhere around that figure.
Within the car park, yeah.
Yeah, when they get that in the car park.
The car park price has gone up as well for after the first ones are gone.
Yep, so they've already gone up 80k in that time. Just recently, we had someone else really wanted one and there weren't any. So the developer decided to sell one of theirs. Kieran talked to them and talked them around to selling it. And we got, what did we get for that?
875.
875. So before even concrete has been laid now, they've gone from 720 to 875, which is a great story. Now potentially the 40k of that has been driven by the property market. The half that probably last 70 or 80k rise, but from 820 to 840 has just been in the what I call the market within the development. And so that's what I do. And that's where if you get in first, this is what I do. And if you want to make money with new builds, you have to get in first. You get in at the start of development. That's where the money is to be made. If it's for you to live in and it's your dream home, dream new build and it's finished, well, you pay a good price and you can go and live there. So for me, that's the really important thing, the market within the development. Why else does time perfect is under 40s, or I'm not quite 40, a wee bit older than that now, Kieran, but I'm like those people, the new generation. They live life by these things here, like I do.
Snowflake. Oh no, yeah.
You probably still enjoy going out and cutting the hedges and painting your fence, Kieran. I don't anymore.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And that's what the generation is these days. We like getting out there. We see what activities are on. We go there and do it.
Yeah.
We don't want to sit there doing what we did when I was brought up and doing the maintenance and renovations and
paint the walls, fix the roof.
Hate those sort of jobs now. So we live life now, and that's what we do. So that's where one of the reasons new builds have come, apart from the government making it harder not to. The other one there is there's two points there. They seem cheaper than they have been. What I mean by that is when Kiwi Build first come in, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 so years ago, the prices actually, I think the new builds went down a little bit to cater for what the Kiwi Build prices were, because they were quite low. So they stayed stagnant for quite a few years. And I still think now, in my opinion, I don't say all new builds are off the plan. I'm not talking $2 or $3 million ones here. I'm talking the cheaper level entry ones for first home buyers can afford, that investors want to buy because it's better cash flow. I see them I think there's a lot of growth to go there. I'll compare a place I just sold in Chatterton Peninsula. I didn't really want to sell it, but I had to sell it for a reason. It's a 25-year-old place. It's just over 60 square metres, cross lease, one of 3. Needs a bit of work done to it. It's in average condition, and we got over $800,000 for that. Just around the corner, there's a new build, 60 square metres, 2 bedrooms, double glazing, state of the art, heat pumps, you name it, it's got it, and that was for $725. And in fact, they actually the development the same developer did a wee while earlier was I think $690. So the one that sold about 3 or 4 months ago was $725. Mine sold for $800. If I had a choice of living in either or, I'd be living in a new build. So I still think there's plenty of uplift with new builds, and as I said, I think it's been held back a few years ago because of Kiwi build prices, but the prices are now getting back to where they should be, but still a lot to go. So don't be too scared about prices going up through development. That's how it happens. They have to be cheap there because the developer needs pre-sales. By the end of it, it's finished. It'll be selling at what it's worth. And that's pretty well how it works. Just obviously other fundamentals are just normal investment fundamentals. Location's important. Good for buses and trains and schools and all those bits and pieces.
Transportation, schools, amenities, all the standard. Yep. Good solid builds, good areas.
I'll just can someone just tell me you can hear me, because one person just come on to say they can't. There's no sound, but it says the sound's on. Are you still there, Wendy, or can someone just put in questions that they can hear me? It's saying that you can hear me.
Yep.
All good. Okay. Sorry, Paul. It must be your computer that's causing you trouble. So we'll carry on.
Now.
Oh, okay. Yep. Paul. Okay. Thanks for that. Lots of people telling us they can hear me. That's bad for me. So just a couple other things to be, things to be aware of before we sort of go on and get Kris in. Is so first thing is really important with developments is how experienced is a developer, but also I say more important that is how financial secure is a developer. When places and developments have really taken a long time, it's been because the developer hasn't been financially secure. And I heard of another one just yesterday in the North Shore where everything stopped and then all the tools are gone and all the tradesmen have gone off. And first thing I go is the developers running out of money. So that's a really important question. I've had experiences very closely, unfortunately, about 10, 12 years ago, building a standalone house, and where the builder had very bad credit and very bad money, and there was all his developments were held up because of financially he wasn't financially secure, and that's one of the biggest problems. And of course, your money, if you have the money in a new build, there is an opportunity cost factor of it. If you've got $100,000 or $200,000 sitting there, you can't spend it anywhere else, so you don't want to sit there for too much longer than it should be there. It's good money. But
well, most of the product you're looking at is under that 800K mark at the moment anyway. So 10%'s 80,000 in the bank at what 1%, 1.5%. You're not missing out on much.
No, yeah, definitely. No, all good. So check the developer out, and people go, how do you know? There's plenty of people around there. There's plenty of groups and you can talk to, investment groups. There's a lot of people in this group tonight. There's a lot of people you can talk to, the property investor associations. There's always someone knows someone in your town. One thing you must have is a thing called a sunset clause aimed at the purchaser. I won't even go on tonight to the other one, I don't think. Sunset clause means, for example, the one we're looking at tonight, it's supposed to be finished by October next year, October 22. A sunset clause means if it's not finished by a certain date, you can actually pull out of the contract. Now, usually it's about a year after it's expected to be finished. That might seem like a long time, but there's a lot of reasons that things can go wrong, and it's not the developer's fault. And you want the project to finish. Everyone wants a project to finish, and everyone's driven to do that, including the developer more so than anyone. But sometimes they can't get stock from overseas. There's a hold up in shipping or whatever. Look at the last 12 months with the COVID. You just don't know what's around the corner. But so usually it's about a year, sometimes 6 months after it's expected to be finished. What that means is you have a choice as a buyer to carry on and keep with the game, and usually you've made some money, so why would you want to give it back anyway? But if you do want to give it back, you can give it back to the developer. You get your deposit back plus any interest that's been accrued during that period of time. We have dealt with Alexandra Park the last 12 months, and the only reason we've got involved with that is there were a lot of delays, about 5 years it's taken to finish that Alexandra Park. Fantastic place there, and the purchasers have made a big whack of money during the process.
Good capital gains.
They've done great capital gains, but there were still 40 to 45 people that handed their apartments back to the Auckland Trotting Club because it passed that sunset clause. Now, I said they had the choice to do that or not. You must have that in there. When one of the errors I made 10, 12 years ago, and I wasn't quite so street smart as I am now, is that I didn't have a sunset clause in there. The market turned nasty. I'd already paid too much for it, and if I had a sunset clause in there, I could have pulled out. It was a very inexperienced developer, wasn't financially secure, and it took another 1.5 years to finish, which I couldn't get out of it. So sunset clause.
So I guess, mate, the sunset clause is very important. What's more important, that the sunset clause is in the purchaser's favour. That means that you have the opportunity to walk away, or you have the opportunity to stay. Same with the due diligence clause. There should be a due diligence clause. Most developers these days will have them that you can have 5 to 10, sometimes 15 working days to do due diligence, but you can walk away. It's in your favour for any reason throughout that period of time.
Yep, absolutely. And there is another. There used to be a lot of clauses, a lot of contracts 10 or 15 years ago. Not so much now, and I won't get into it in detail right this second. But the sunset clause era used to be sunset clause for the developer's sake, where they could get out in a couple of years. I won't talk about that tonight. Make sure it doesn't have that in there. Make sure the sunset clause means you, the purchaser, can get out of the contract. So it's all good. Don't get confused with, usually there's a clause in there if the resource consent's not granted, where the developer usually has 2 or 3 months to get resource consent and get enough pre-sales that the development's definitely going to go ahead. That's important because you need to know they can go ahead. They need to know they can go ahead. But then there must be the sunset clause for you. Dwelled on that a little bit, but it is really important. Obviously, set your structure. If you're an investor, if you're a first home buyer and watching this, that's fine. You'll usually be under your own name or maybe a family trust or whatever. But make sure you, especially as an investor, you get your structures set up properly. Talk to the appropriate people, professionals to do that, not us. Of course, you can buy a place in your own name and or nominee, and as long as you, before settlement, you have it in the right entity, you can do that as well. So you don't put off not getting it under contract because you don't have a contract company set up, especially if you want the cheapest when you can get it, which is right at the start. All good, right? I'll probably get you to go and get Kris right now, and I'll just cover these. We'll get you back.
I'll go and grab Kris from the winery.
Obviously, to be aware of the location still, as we said before about capital gains. You want to have places where people want to rent if you're buying this as an investment. So as I said, buy public transport is really important. Schools are really important for people, and resellability. You want to buy a place that someone will want to buy one day, which is really important. So we're welcoming in Kris Pedersen there, and you are in picture. I haven't got it up at the moment, but you are definitely in picture. Excuse me. So Kris Pedersen Mortgages. A lot of you will know him. That's all good. So he works in the office right across the road here. Now we got to be very careful. We don't we're not as a real estate agent recommend any professionals and say you must use these people. But we need to get someone on to talk about finance, and I use Kris personally, and a lot of our investors do, and he understands investors probably better than most. So welcome along for repaying the compliment that I did for you last week.
Thank you, Mark, and I probably use Mark as my go-to in regards to taking advice in regards to a lot of property stuff as well.
All good. No need to blow me up. That's cool. Right, just a couple of questions for you, really. And it's up to you. So first of all, obviously a simple question. Hopefully, can you get finance for off the plans, and how long can you get it for?
Yeah, you can. It's quite different from bank to bank, Mark. You'll find that some of the banks, unfortunately, can be quite conservative and write down at 3 months. we do find that some of the better banks are right up to 12 months. So be aware though that for those off-the-plan build situations where you're going post 12 months, that if it goes over that, the bank's approval won't necessarily be applicable. We're seeing a lot of interest in the new build market at the moment. Obviously, the government changes, which obviously just walked in the room. Mark's pretty spoken about new builds are the thing right now. And we're seeing massive interest at KPM, I'm sure. Yeah, the same thing. And what we will, it's really good, but you need to understand that from a financing point of view, if you're talking about stuff which is maybe quite a while out, you need to make sure that you understand the banks will re-qualify you if it's post the 12-month settlement criteria.
So if they buy something tonight, someone buys something coming any time now, and it's 15 months away. At 11 months, say 11, 12 months, maybe 11 months to give them another month here this end. It's a good time to
We actually, it's a really good question. Well, what we tend to do at KPM, and what we found, Mark, is that let's say we were sitting here and we were saying we're obviously in June this year, and let's say we were saying it was August next year that we were expecting settlement to happen. We quite often find that settlement maybe might drift a month or two. So let's say it was August, we might then go to October. So we kind of understand from experience, you want to allow maybe a month or two of drift at the year.
Yeah. So maybe 19 months before.
So just what my personal experience is, maybe what we do as a business is we try and get in contact with you maybe around the back end of this year. Let's say it's November, December. So then you've got this kind of coverage. If we kind of like use a financier to kind of cover you right through to like kind of October, November, December next year. So if for example, the developer's going to fall a couple of months over, you've still got this coverage which keeps you safe. So we try and adopt a two-stage strategy where we go, part one, let's look at your position now. Do you look good? If you look good now, that looks fantastic. We cannot make you a promise that lenders will not change criteria. Then what we do is we try and go, okay, maybe stage two, let's try and maybe go a little bit further out than what the expected settlement date is to try and keep you within that 12-month settlement date, if that makes sense. We're trying to go, if settlement date is here, let's go further out and maybe give you a bit more of a window to keep you safe.
No, that's good. And so one quick good question is, if you've got your pre-approval, so it's 4 months away, you've got your pre-approval, what say if the rules change and you've got an approval?
If you've got the approval, fundamentally, you should be fine. The key things to understand are that you need to be aware that lenders, are fundamentally making a decision on your credit risk.
Yeah.
So if you decide to go self-employed, if you're a dual income household and one of you decides to drop their job, if one of you decides to go self-employed and your situation massively changes, they have run a credit risk position on your current position. So understand that they're going to suddenly go, if that they understand this, they're going to go, well, the positions change, and they have a right to go, you may not meet the current criteria. So I'm sure Mark's same as me. We don't. I love investment. I love property, but we also want to keep you safe. And so it's a case of understanding that you're getting into this, and you might make a decision over here that you're getting into a new part of your life at the same time. But from a banking point of view, they might think that that's something which does not meet their credit criteria. So if you decide to get into one of these off-the-plan situations, and I think this is the way that a lot more investors are going to go moving forward, especially with the changes we're seeing from the government, some of the really attractive products we're seeing coming through the finance market. Just before you make major changes, talk to your mortgage advisor, talk to your bank. Happy to give you a free review at KPM, all those kind of things, because just don't put yourself at risk when you're getting into these products. What I've found is that we deal with a lot of people and investors in this market. This is quite a safe option, and it's going to become an option more and more, which is going to be used for investors. It's people who just don't think. So if you think, you're fine.
Right, good advice, I think. So what I mean, I've got the what products are out there now. There's a product ASB announced about 2 weeks ago. It comes with some flaws, but tell us briefly about that.
Yeah, this is the most sexy bank product I've seen. I was out with
no,
my
not
business
sexy,
partner.
not sexy people.
I don't think I've ever used the words bank and sexy in the same sentence before. And I was out with Ryan Snuts, who is anyone online who's a KPM customer. We'll put in Ryan as well. And I was trying to say to him, because he's obviously a little bit younger than me. I don't remember the last time that we had a situation where a bank came out and had a really defined sexy bank product. And I think ASB have done a really good job here of coming out, and it's pretty cool, doesn't it?
So what is it? What is it? How good?
So sorry, I'm doing a really good job about how excited I am with this product. And so, so effectively, kind of really roughly, floating mortgage rates of 4.4%, for 4%, sorry, and they're up and down a little bit from there. But this is a construction product which they're offering at 1.79%, as long as you meet the criteria. It gets better than that. Fundamentally, at the moment, if you want to go buy a second-hand investment property off a bank and you want to get bank finance, you're looking at a 40% deposit. We can get you that through ASB and Sovereign, who they fund as well, with a 10% deposit. So hardly any capital, really good interest rate. Now, one thing I've left out, got to get into the nitty-gritty, is that the 1.79 is when you've got a 20% or larger deposit. If you've got less than that, they tend to charge a low equity margin on top of that. It's actually still not that scary though, because as an example, if you're going for a 90% product, you're looking at interest rates roughly around the 2.54% interest rate off the top of my head. So a 2.54% interest rate with a 10% deposit blitzes anything in the market I've seen. Now, also that applies to turnkeys. So one of the first things we thought is that might only apply to land and build packages. So, for example, when you're buying the land and building build and GJ Garden type of constructions. That was one of the first questions I went. No, it does apply to turnkey stuff as well. It's worth mentioning if you're doing a reno project with a code of compliance, bad luck. You're not going to get this product. If you're, we've heard that there are, Mark mentioned before that we are battling the bank on a few things. We have heard that if you're doing a minor dwelling, maybe it can work. We are having a fight with a certain client at the moment where the banks said that it doesn't work, then we've managed to get someone else to overturn it. So I don't want to complicate it too much tonight. Amazing product. I think this is one of the most sexy things I've seen in the construction market in my time in financing. But I just understand we're working through it at the moment. This has only come out in the last couple of weeks.
And not everyone will be able to get it, so it depends on their situation, obviously.
It's worth mentioning that they have a quite harsh debt service and loan affordability criteria behind the scenes.
Yep.
So not all of you will qualify for it, but there's still so much margin in construction or new builds at the moment, and there's so much benefit in regards to interest deductibility that you can still look at it even if you don't qualify for that product.
Yeah, jolly good. Yeah, no, pretty cool product, and I'm quite keen to take advantage of that myself as soon as I can. I'll listen to my mouse here. Where am I going? Oh, there we go. Gosh, we've probably talked about some of them. I don't know if there are any the risk before of what happens, I guess, during the time of if you lose your job or your spouse decides not to work, sort of thing.
Sorry, you're talking about off the plan stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Well, just a new build sort of risk, I guess.
I think it's probably like anything, is that if you were to sign up for a property and your situation was to change prior to settlement, you are going to carry risk. That applies to all situations. There's massive upside. Often we're seeing at the moment. I've been talking to clients that I've been buying in Queenstown who've experienced massive capital gain without paying for mortgages. If that makes sense. Over, they've timed everything right.
Yeah, yeah.
But there is also risk, and so I suppose it's a case of It's like anything. You need to be careful. You need to look at your situation. Don't just sign up and think there's no risk. Happy to talk you through that.
I guess if you're looking at having a family next year and
don't
what to happen after that,
yeah,
probably good, not a good time to buy a new build.
It's just a case of
it depends on.
I think it's a case of go through the analysis.
Yeah.
I would sit there and go, if you're at a stage right now and you're a dual income household, and maybe one of the partners is looking at dropping their income.
Yeah.
Just there's a case of we can run the numbers and see how it looks.
Yeah. No.
And I'd just like to throw in a plug there, Kris, as well, really, and that's one of the benefits of going through a broker and going directly through to your bank, because every bank has got different criteria that change all the time, whereas a broker understands the market.
Yeah. 100% agree with you, Kieran.
Yeah. Of course you do.
100% agree with you.
Yeah. So what's your sort of personal opinion on how you can adopt the new rules the government brought in? So maybe what are you doing, or what are you just as a personal thing? It's nothing.
There's from my point, the changes that came in regards to the deductibility shocked me. I won't get into my opinions in regards to politics.
Yeah.
But I believe that I look at, in some ways, investing like a sport. You look at it like you look at it and go, here's the rules of the game. I want to play in the game, and then I go, how do I play the game best? And I know for me personally, the loss of the deductibility if I'm going to go and buy a second-hand property has changed. Now, I still think there's some opportunities in the market. I think there's some really good trading opportunities in the market. We've spoken about that before, but I think for a lot of the investors who are probably more what I call passive investors, who don't want to spend a lot of time really becoming market experts. Like if you want to become a real market expert, and you like spending all of your weekends at open homes, and you love that stuff, then I think the second-hand market's probably, I think you have some opportunities. If you love spending hours and hours and hours and hours, you know what I mean,
100%.
and becoming a market expert, if you don't have that time or you don't have that passion, I think this market has become a lot more attractive to you, because the interest rates, the products, where everything's getting pushed, suddenly has actually become a really good new build market, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, the government rules have certainly helped that, which is good for us. That's what we do, new builds, but they certainly have driven it. And I've seen a lot of, I'll be surprised at some investors, I call them old school investors, who never wanted to buy a new build or off the plan, and they're buying, and we're seeing Kieran ourselves, and we're selling them some good stock. So
we are very much seeing three kind of types of clientele. We're seeing what I'll call the main investors, which are the people who are wanting to invest, but they're also running families, they're running jobs, they're doing all those kind of things. And those people have probably given up on probably the second-hand property, and they have moved towards learning about new builds. And we've seen our probably more sophisticated investors who are looking back at that market, because that's what they specialize on, and they're happy to play in the second-hand market, because they live and breathe it, and they do this 50, 60 hours a week. They've done this for forever, but it doesn't fit into the people who want to buy a good investment right now and forget about it. Those are, sorry, I said three, but those are the main two. Then we've got the property traders who are a completely different market. The people who want to buy a good investment and not invest and take their life up are looking more at the new build market right now.
Now, I've never heard this guy talking like that in the time I've known him, so it's a change. It's no different than what I call the old school investors. That's probably what you are in a way, and who would never look at doing that until recent times. So it's just got so much harder, as I said, for long-term hold. So what we might do right now is get Kris to move over, and we'll get Kieran back in the hot seat. But Kris isn't going anywhere, and what I do advise you all to do is, under the questions, just put down any questions, and Kris, you're going to hang around for another 10 minutes, I'm telling you.
If you want.
So put any questions for Kris or myself or Kieran, and we'll discuss them in 10 minutes or so when we finish up.
So before you move on there, just like to, a lot of the clients that I've been talking to in the last month or so are those who've had portfolios of existing property, but with the proposed new regulations.
Yeah.
They just can't make it all work. They're looking to lose 20-odd thousand across every property. So there's a lot of those existing rental stock holders that are looking to move that on and get into that new build market. So yeah, for all the reasons you've discussed.
Yeah, no, all good. Okay, so that's sort of all we're really going to cover on why we think new build is great right now. I'll talk for much longer before than this. But we see we're a bit of a sales night. We think we've got a pretty good stock. You know, what a lot of our people say to us is, "Hey, Mark, we want and Kieran, we want to get in first in a project. We want to get in. How do you get in at the start?" When I first started years ago, I mean, I always said, how do you work with a developer? How do you know a developer, get in? We know a developer or know someone like us, there's other people around like us who can get in first in the project. And what I've brought 3 new builds in the last couple of years is no different than the opportunity we're presenting tonight. It's getting in first, knowing that it's going to go up despite what the property market's doing. So we'll go through and we'll have a look. And so we've got opportunity. It's a huge chance tomorrow we can sell this property. They called it Coronation Rise out on Mungary Bridge. We'll talk the location soon. Kieran was there on the weekend. This is almost a perfect scenario of what I was talking about before. This is a big project. There's over 200 residents going to be built in the next 2 or 3 years. Stage 1 is about 40 of 200 and odd before they're all finished. 3 and 4 bedroom townhouses. That's all is going to be on the whole development. Stage 1 is all 3 bedroom townhouses. So that's what it is. 3 bedroom townhouses. 3 bedrooms up top with a full bathroom and another semi bathroom down the bottom, which is good because a lot of townhouses I see 2-story ones, they don't have the bathroom down the bottom. It's not the be all and end all, but it is a pain when you visit. They have to go upstairs and sort of go in your living, your private space, I guess. So it's good having a toilet downstairs. Good to see a couple of questions coming through. Keep it going. So as I said, these are all 3 beds. They're 87 square metres. That's the dwelling itself. Got a bit of land with it also. They've all got a car park, and you might go, yeah, I'll expect to have a car park. Well, don't expect it because a lot of developments in Auckland and Christchurch at the moment don't have car parks. The council allow not to have it. So, and some developments like we deal with actually charge another $20,000, $40,000 or so for a car park that's in the suburbs.
Yeah. So
don't take that as a normal thing. It doesn't always happen. Rental appraisal is between 650 and 700. I've done a wee cash flow later on. I've just taken the midway point, 675. Seems logical thing to do. Price of start, this one at 785. So in my opinion, and this is what I always look at, it's never going to be cheaper than that again. So if you're there as an investor, you know, when you make money, when you buy, here's the opportunity to do that. So 785 is a start point. If you buy one of the year ones on the townhouse, I think the 790 or 795. 785 you can pick one up for now. And we always make sure you have 10 working days due diligence, just so you can talk to your broker, your financer, and even though this is just over 12 months away, talk to your lawyer and make sure you're happy with it. So we'll cover a bit more of that again shortly, but that's sort of what it is. Now where is it? It's important. Settlement back there. Settlement's 22nd of October.
Looking to start stage 1 in January next year and have it completed by October next year.
October next year.
October. Yeah.
So what Kris said is over 12 months away. So you get finance now, and then probably by December, January, you get finance again. This is one of the few developers actually seems to finish earlier than planned, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
Very good financial backing. That's what I like about them. So that's all good. Tonight's opportunity. So let's talk a bit about you went out there on a drive in the weekend, didn't you? And
I did look
Karen and talk about it.
Yeah, well, I live on the North Shore over in Beach Haven, for those that know Auckland. Those that don't, it's on the other side of the Harbour Bridge. Took me about 35 minutes. Thankfully going the opposite way from the old cyclists that were holding up the bridge traffic on Sunday. And those that have gone to the airport would have gone past an old staging post as the Wanderers Hotel or the Wanderers Pub at Mangere Bridge. It's look, we got off and went down into the village, which is an extension of Coronation Road that this is on. A lovely village, a lot of dining and eateries and cafes. It's got a supermarket, it's got your farm, it's got all your amenities that you look for in a shopping area in a new build development for your clients to access to. It's got great transport routes. It's just down the road from the airport, but not on the flight path. It is close to a lot of business areas and access to those areas. So if you've got, you're looking at renters and where they'll be working and living in the area, and it's close to great access to motorways and other bits and pieces. But Mangere Bridge, look, if you go on Trade Me, have a look, see if you can find a 3-bedroom, 1 bath with a car park for 780,000. I'd be surprised.
I think the new average there is just over 1.1 mil is the average for a house in Mangere Bridge at the moment. So yeah, so just let's have a look at the, if I can get my mouse back again, there's and sort of the want to talk through the area there. I'm not sure you probably can't see my, not sure you can see my
yeah, you can see the mouse.
Oh no, it's up there. No, you can't see the mouse. That's all right. So you can see where the red dot is. No, so there. Yeah, oh, you can actually. There it is. Yeah. So you got the red dot there. That's where it is.
Just up here's on a hanger.
And then then down the bottom you've got the airport. Yep. Yeah, you got the only hanger, the Dress Smart and all those places there. It's how far to the centre of town?
Well, it's only about geez, probably 20 minutes on a bus. I think that's what it would be. I came, as I said, from the North Shore and came through on the Northwestern Motorway. We were selling places over there on Massey Road, just probably about 20 minutes away. Well, if that, 15 Mangere East Way on Massey Road, and they were around the high 800s to 900 mark for a similar type 3-bedroom standalone with a car park. But so it's certainly an area that's gentrifying, it's growing. Those that live in Auckland have been past, have seen this as a large empty paddock for a while. There is some existing terraced housing in there, which this will be built around. But yes, a very good opportunity to get into a great area, central to Auckland. I was going to say Christchurch, central to Auckland, central to very good working areas, motorways out to Manukau and through to the airport and into town. So yeah,
great. Yep. So it's got all the ticks all the boxes we say about that. So there we got the project itself. We you can see there that's the whole project. The three stages. They're actually looking at buying that period. Well, yeah, we'll see. But that's a project there. Going in a wee bit closer, again, you can see the whole project there. That's stage 1's this little bit over here. And if I click it again, you go to stage 1, and actually that's what we're looking at selling and what we have there. So yeah, so as I said, three stages. Each stage is about a year apart. So stage 3 is going to be worth a lot more than stage 1.
Yeah, and they're getting under stage 1's getting underway, as we said, in January. Sure, resource consent is expected in August.
September, yeah.
And which is why they're coming.
Pre-sales will be done before then.
This is why these pre-sales are coming to market at this price.
Yeah. So that's where it is, and you see there's a mixture of the size blocks sort of things. They're all 85, and the ones, I think the outside ones there are 795. Compared with what we've had before, what we've sold before, as I said, around the area, that this is pretty good buying.
It's very good buying compared to what's just finished selling in the area. Correct.
100%. So what we got here is just the A type buildings. As I said, this is right. This is so where we are right now, just been launched right now. If you add up the 2 floors here, I think it comes to 84. They're actually 87 square meters, so I think they're actually going to be ever so slightly larger than it says. But 3 bedrooms up top, the bathroom, and the living all down the bottom with the toilet and sink there. So that's what they're going to look like, which is all jolly good. So that's just, you're going to add any more on the Coronation
Other than what we're seeing and priced in Auckland coming to market, I mean, look, you know, we can all talk about what's happened to the market, but it's really property and new build property has been scarce, and seeing this come to the market at its pricing in the area that it's at, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for those that want to get in. What I really like is the fact that we're also talking to first home buyers about this opportunity. So that's great.
Just got a question here from Jeremy. Good question, Jeremy. Is there any car parking options for visitors at the moment?
Yes, they do. They've built that into the place. Even they've got handicap parking as well for there as part of the parking space. So they have built in that.
So that's really unusual, to be fair, which is a great thing.
Shows a developer that is aware. I mean, you can look up Grenadine Square, which is what he's done in the past. He owns a property management company, so he's aware of what people are looking for and what they need.
Yeah, 100%. Jolly good. Right, so just summarise, I guess, what we just talked about. They're all 3-bedroom townhouses. They've all got a car park. Rental appraisals 650 to 700. Start at 785, as we said. We worked out just before the pre-tax cash flow. Now I've used the assumption of a 2.5% interest rate at the moment. I've also I've allocated is there's not a body corp. This is they're all
so residents association.
Yeah, resident associations. So they're all freehold title. Residents society it's called, so it's not like a body corp, so you still have to get your insurance, still has rates, but instead of paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year, you pay between, I think it's got between $500 and $800 or
$750 to $1,000.
$750 to $1,000, is it?
Yep.
So what that does some basic things for the gardens, the roads, the rubbish, and all those bits and pieces. So it doesn't have that high figure that you often get. So that's what that is there. With rates and so I put some money in for repairs, even though there should be no repairs the first few years. And I put a property management fee at 9%. If you need a property manager, and they still come out at over $6,000 pre-tax cash flow for the first couple of years. I think with that new 1.7% loan, if you can get that from Kris Pedersen just spoke about, it's a three-year fixed loan you can get. That's great because you know your pre-tax cash flow is going to be that for the next 3 years, and I've done it on 50 weeks per year income, not 52 weeks, so allowing for a couple of weeks with no one in there. So for an investor, that's pretty damn good. I'd be trying to put more money personally onto it because the quicker you get down the debt, the better the cash flow is later on, and if the interest rates go up later on, it makes it all the better if you pay debt off. So that's interest only type pre-tax cash flow. So that's all we've got really on that tonight. That's all we really want to mention.
We're just before Mark gets off Coronation Rise, this is such a new opportunity. We're still finalising the information booklet. The developer is finalising up the sale and purchase agreement as well. It does have the clauses we've talked about in it. But please let us know if you're interested. We'll put you on the list to send that out to ASAP. But Mark was just about to move on to maybe some other opportunities because there's always other opportunities.
So we've got 10 at that price right now we can sell. So we're about to send the first one out tomorrow. So if you're interested, we'll give details later on anyway. Just as an example of something else we've got a lot of stuff. And if you go to a website, you won't see this stuff here, and that's why it's important to not for another week. Then you'll start seeing some of the stuff. We've got one here. It's
Silverdale.
In Silverdale, Millwater and Silverdale. Just some pictures of the development getting done as it is at the moment. Just a few facts on that one. The 3-bedroom townhouses, the rental appraisal is slightly higher than the other because the location it's at. Premium prices because higher, but again, back to location of where it is. They start at 970, most of them are above $1 million, and they completed middle of next year, so they've already started, which is all good.
Well, just a bit of background on Millwater, Silverdale. Again, it has just been an explosion up there in development. And developers we were talking to at the end of last year and beginning of this year just even haven't been able to get land. I've talked to some of the groups that we deal with, the signatures and the golden homes. We're taking signed contracts with a promise of finding them land and building a house on it. So to have an opportunity up there, this is a great spot, fantastic area, Millwater, new golf course just over the motorway. It's on the Ariwa, or the beach side of the motorway as you head up towards Warkworth.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people want to live there. And we get quite a few people that actually they prefer to have a slightly bigger and North Shore sort of location. So a lot of first home, second home buyers are actually sort of buying this stuff as well. Yep. That we're finding. So as I said, we are doing the push tonight on the Coronation Rise. But we've what others? We got plenty of other stock. What sort of stock? And we've had a bit of a hold up. But I think we've seen, well, I've seen from probably October to March, more new builds be sold off the plan, be sold than I've ever seen when I've been involved in property. The last few years has been quite a bit, but not like that. And there's almost the stock's run out in about March or February. And there hasn't been much in Auckland and Christchurch. What we're just finding is now we're just getting a bit more stock coming on board right as we speak. So what other things?
Yeah, well, property's just starting to come back on, Mark. As you said, after COVID, it just went nuts, and just developments sold out, and it's just taking time to get them to market. But they're all coming on the market, and of course, prices have gone up. Not only land's gone up, the cost to develop, the cost of materials. And so we're seeing things that have only just finished selling, which are now launching the next development in the same area at 50 grand more as a start price.
Yeah.
So, what other things today hit our desk is a fantastic, Brooksfield, many of you may know them. They do townhouses in Christchurch. These are right there on Oxford Terrace. You've got a choice of apartments from 2 beds with bathroom to 2 beds with 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms with a garage, right in the centre of town. You'll be walking to the new stadium. Now, yes, they're at a new price point, but for being central Auckland, for central Christchurch, you'll be able to get something in there from around that a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom with a garage. For around that, starting around the 700k mark. We've got other property in Christchurch as well, and often if you call and you talk to us, some of the questions we ask is, do you want to get into something now? Do you want to invest in it now? You have to just put a deposit down. You want 18 months. So we couldn't possibly go through the property opportunities that we do have. But Mark, just talking to a developer yesterday with some opportunities in Queenstown too.
Yeah, so down there we've got one of the bigger developers around the country too, and they've got some stuff there at the moment. They've got 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. 1 bedroom's only just a bit over 40 square metres, so might be a question for Kris if you can get finance. I think you still can, but you really want to be 50 square metres to use every facility, banking facility. You've got 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, and they range from sort of, the cheap ones from 500k to 600-700k for the 2s, and 800 to 1.1 for the 3s. They've got a new development which I'm really interested in, with 2 bedroom terraces with a flexi room. What a flexi room is, it means the 3rd room doesn't have a window, so it could be used as an office. It still can be used as a bedroom. And they start at $699, which is freehold property, which is extremely good buying.
Yeah, well,
Queenstown, again, really close to the middle of town. They go up, and there's going to be 56 in the first stage. Again, more than one stage. I bet they're not going to be $699 when they finish. So they're not going to be out for a little while, but they will be in the next month or 2. They're also doing some stuff in Pakuranga. Sorry, I'm not sure Pakuranga or Papakura said. I think one in Papakura, actually, one or 2 bedrooms down there. So we have got a bit of other stock coming up. So it's a matter of just letting us know. We're always getting little blocks of 5 to 10 in Christchurch. Again, for that one there, it depends on what it is. We have some cheaper product, and it depends on where it is. Not all 700,000 like this one here is, because it's a premium location.
Oh, excuse me.
But they might not, to be honest, they might not necessarily have that. When I say the market within the market or market within the development, you might not necessarily get that when there's only 5 or 10. But they can still get an early buy now. It's still going to be cheaper than buying something similar in a year's time. So I hope that sort of makes sense. So there's plenty of opportunity. You can get an appointment anytime with Kieran and myself, but in particular Kieran. And Kieran's had many years of having meetings with clients and about looking for what they want, and then we can give you 2 or 3 choices. Say here we go. This is what we think might work for what you're asking, and you can go from there. And we'll just put you on the professionals to help you out. We don't care what you buy. We just want to see you get a good buy, because that gets us more popular when you do good things and your family and friends hear that you do.
Well, the key is understanding your goals, and if we can understand what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve and your timelines and your budgets to do that, then we can help you. Karen, our qualifier, has been calling and talking to a lot of people. Please just drop a line, say give us a call, and either Karen or myself give you a call and go through the process and understand what it is you're looking for, and can discuss with you in a lot more depth some of the property that we do have available.
Yeah. So tonight, if you do like Coronation Rise, will certainly contact us. You got the details there. Email us tonight, bring us in the morning, whatever you want to do. If you want just to go on the list to be first in, like some people tell us, contact us and tell us where you want Auckland, you want Christchurch, or whatever you want. And when the next one comes up, you'll get the phone call and you'll be there. That's what I didn't have 15 years ago, which killed me and hurt me a lot, to be fair. So I had to go out on my own when I didn't know how a heck of a lot, and it went through the hardships myself. Just follow through any questions. We've got a couple of questions there for Kris. I'll grab Kris back. And want any questions, just go to the questions tab there and fill something out. I'll just wait, Kris comes back and I'll get the first of the couple of questions there for him. We got, can you clarify if the ASB product is available for new builds where 80% of the purchase price is paid at compliance stage? I'll cover that in a minute. In fact, I'll cover that first. The first thing is, what is a new build? When is a new build? A new build is when you obviously buy it before it's finished, or you buy it within 6 months of code of compliance being issued from the developer. So pre-sales or anything up to when it's finished, and 6 months after if you buy it from the developer. If it's an on sale, you might not necessarily get it.
So if I can jump in, one of the things which we're having a few fights with at the moment is that I believe personally is the way that we're looking at everything is that fundamentally the exemptions that the banks are allowed with the new builds, are fundamentally because the Reserve Bank and the government's all trying to increase supply. We find there's been a couple of cases where fighting ASB, where their version of a new build, I don't believe, is quite in sync with what the Reserve Bank or the government's version of a new build is, if that makes sense. There's different things I don't want to bore everyone online with at the moment. We're already finding cases that we are getting told by one banker, no, this doesn't qualify, and we've fought it and we've got it through and we've got it changed. So I just want to make sure, unfortunately with banks, there's a whole lot of fine print. It's just the way that banks work. I don't want to sit here online and go, you want to build a house, you'll qualify. I just can't do that. We're fighting a few deals. We're winning some. We have lost one because of the fine print that banks fundamentally, while they get given rules, they are allowed to adopt their own rules over the top of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
And so we're trying to, I think
that makes sense. Cool. Also, is there availability is it available for investment properties or just owner occupiers?
So I think I said before earlier, for those who heard, you get 90%. You can get 90% investment builds. How sorry, 60%.
That hasn't happened.
This is what I was saying earlier. For me, ongoing, you can get a 60% when you start looking at this. This is the part of the reason I'm excited about this product.
Yeah.
You can look at a 60% standalone house, can't get deductibility on interest versus a 90%. The interest rate's the same.
It's crazy.
You can write the interest off. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then even here early on, but is available standalone properties or can it be used for body corp units? I think we've answered that before. At the moment,
yeah, I mean, there'll be little. The one thing I'll say, just quickly on that, if I may, Mark, is that there's the new build criteria, and then there's the criteria was the bank will adopt certain securities. So, for example, and sorry, I have not spoken to Mark about anything about the properties he's selling. So no offense, I've got no idea what Mark's talking to you about from a property point of view. So as an example, ASB, if you've got a apartment of sub 40 square meters, they won't touch it. They just don't take, they don't put any value onto that at all.
40 square meters.
Yeah, under 40. So they have their own criteria. So there's a criteria which they will adopt to you as a client, and there's a criteria they will adopt to the security property. That needs to you need to be able to tick both those boxes. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so they're going to sit there and go, as an example, you're an investor, you meet the criteria, you want to buy a new build, you can get 90%. Fantastic. The security criteria, which means the property you're looking to buy or the property you're looking to take to them, still has to meet the criteria as well.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's good. 40 square meters that's good because Queenstown one's coming up R40. So
there's other criteria as well, but broad brush criteria. That's it.
Yeah. For financing, is it also the same when purchasing sections with a view to build later on?
Yeah, there's definitely criteria around that though. There's intention to build within a certain period of time. There's other fundamental characteristics they'll look at that I don't think I'll get into tonight. I don't think it's the right time to, but yeah.
Okay. No, jolly good. Well, I was determined to get out of here before 7:30 to have under an hour, but I failed. I probably started 2 minutes late, so I might be okay, Kieran. We'll probably wrap it up now unless someone comes through with a really important question. And we'd like to thank Kris for his time being here tonight, and Kieran for welcoming us and running the ship. And look forward to seeing you again much sooner than our last time we've done one of these, and we'll be probably back within a month, and we'll have some other fantastic opportunity, or just bring you some more education. So we'll close it up there, and thanks very much for the evening.
Thank you.
Cheers.